Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are ranking every field that is currently in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel on how cool they are, right? So I have made a tier list here for every single one of the fields. Now, some of them don't have like the greatest of pictures, and it's mostly the new stuff and this one for some reason. But yeah, we're going to be ranking them from S to F. And just basically on like how good they are as a field. Now, obviously, now we have the music that ties with them, and that goes alongside each one of the fields. However, with all of that being said, music is extremely subjective, so I'm not going to really take that into consideration. And honestly, every single one of the tracks is beautiful. They're all really, really good. So it's not like I have a general preference to the music. I think that they're all great, right? So I'm not going to be judging them basically at all on the music, though I will say if I do have one that's like the best, it's probably the Volcano one. Volcano is just like I think the best soundtrack. However, they're also very close, right? So there you go. There are my quick thoughts. Starting off, I'm actually going to do these two last because these are specifically for events. And they are unique to those events. So yeah, starting off here, I believe this is the first anniversary. Actually, let's start with the forest. It's the bare bones basic one. This is the definition of mid. It is the basic. Actually, I'm gonna put it slightly lower. It is the basic. It is the most average. It is the most nothing field. Right? It's a forest. It works well. It's got some cool base elements and stuff like that, but for the most part, not too much is happening that's interesting there. Honestly, probably not much is going to go lower than that, but there might be. Who knows? Okay, let's do the anniversary one, the first anniversary. This is the like... It's not a mausoleum, but it's the Dark Magician one. It's like all gold and stuff like that. It looks like ass. Actually, this is going to be the one that I put into F tier. I actually really hate this one, and the main reason for it is that it just looks so bad. Gold as a color for a field does not work very well. It is, yeah, a lot of the elements are pretty good, all things considered, but like in terms of the quality for Master Duel, this is by far the worst one, and if you're using it, it's there. Literally every other one is better. I don't think there's going to be one that is lower than this. So there you go. This one in particular, I think is just, it's actually bad. Every other field, I think, has redeeming qualities. Next up, Gear Town. Gear Town's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. It was the one that I originally started using. I thought that was pretty cool. But there have been much better ones released since then. But yeah, it's fairly decent. It has some cool elements. It has some nice scenery. I think my favorite part about the Gear Town one is its lighting. It really does work pretty well, all things considered. Yeah, it's not like super bright, but it's also not extremely dark like some of the other ones. So there you go. And next up, Volcano. Volcano obviously has a killer soundtrack, but honestly, not too great. Again, this one was released with the release of the game, so it's not like insane with the like field elements and stuff like that. So it's okay. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Yeah. Next up, we have the 25th anniversary, or was Blue Eyes the 25th anniversary? I don't know. Whichever one the God cards were. I think the God cards were the 25th anniversary. And honestly, it's a pretty good field. Now again, reminder, these are in comparison to other Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel fields. So while again I don't like this one, none of these are bad. Even Forest is pretty good, right? So with that being said, I actually do think that the cloud elements, actually I'm going to move this up. The cloud elements in this are really, really good. I really enjoy the like lightning that shows up and stuff like that. The damage that happens when this is there as well, or like when you take damage with this as well, is pretty good. Just all in all, really good field, solid entry, right? Next up, I'm actually going to put this one. This is, I think, the only other one that I am going to put lower than Forest. Okay? And it's not quite as bad, but it is pretty bad. And it's the Dogmatica Cathedral. Now, I know that sounds like blasphemy, but actually in game, having this on the field, it is so painful to look at. It is so painful to see that bright white, whether it's on your field or the opponent's field. It is just, it's too distracting. It is like being genuinely flashed with a flashlight. That's basically it. Everything else is fine. Like, it's good. It's just, it is painful to the eyes. Right. Next up we had Vivid something or other. It's the water one. It's the one that everyone uses with like tier. This one's okay. It has, it's almost as bad as the Dogmatica one, but it's not quite. It does have some stuff to like loosen, or not loosen, to like dampen the light and not make it as painful to look at the dual field. But all in all, it's fairly decent and fairly basic. It's okay. One thing I do like about it though is the little like watermarks. It's not watermarks, but like how it looks like underwater, right, on like the surface of the water kind of thing, and having that like go across, it's pretty cool. And there's like fish that swim across, which is also pretty nice. Okay, so this is the Palabyrinth one. I think it's like, it's the Archfiend one. This one definitely goes pretty high. The question is, do I put it in S or in A tier? I think I would have put it in A tier. It's a solid one. I think the main gimmick of it, with like all of the teeth and like the very like harrowing atmosphere, I think is pretty cool. Yeah, all in all, I think it's a solid one. It's one of the 3 that I use consistently. So there you go. Pretty good. I love it. 10 out of 10. Next up we have Cybers. Cybers is, the Cybers one is goated. It's S tier, easily. It is super, super good. It gives the like Signet holes, the like they're holes. The like damage, when you take damage, having the holes pop up that are very Cybers and universe-esque is very cool. On top of that, like all of the other elements as well are just really, really well done. And the first time we saw this in solo mode, it looked incredible, and I'm super glad that we actually now have the ability to play it outside of just that one solo mode. And it's fantastic. There's so much about it as well that is really good. I really like the color scheme and all of that jazz. I don't consistently use it. I don't think it's my favorite, mostly because I don't like Cybers, but it is, I can't deny that it is a fantastic field. This is the Huzuma, what's it field? The like Nephthys field. It's a desert, similar in nature to like the water one. It's a little bit better than some of the like basic stuff, but not by much. Foreign Capital I think is really good. I think it's a very solid. Yeah, it's just a solid field. I like the koi pond on both ends. It's great, right? The contrast from like the buildings to the playfield to what's like underneath the playfield is all very nice, and very, very clean. I think it's very solid. The color scheme is very great, and yeah, it just looks great. Ghost Trick Mansion is a solid A tier as well. Yeah, it's nice and comfy and Ghost Trick Mansion-y and spooky, and I love that the pillows tear when you take damage. That's one of the coolest things about it. So yeah, all in all, fantastic. This is my personal favorite, for obvious reasons. The Glacial World, yeah. And my name's Snow, yeah. I love this one. I like the snow that comes down, like the avalanche that comes down when you click it. Just pretty cool. It looks great. As opposed to, like, this is a white field that is done correctly and is not blindingly bright, as opposed to the Dogmatica Cathedral. Dogmatica Cathedral, if it wasn't as bright as it is, would be significantly higher, would be like clear up here. But because of it like that, and that's where like Glacial World works extremely well, right? A lot of the white is broken up, and like, you know, has like blues and grays and stuff like that thrown into it to really lessen that the brightness, and it makes it have like a nice contrast from the snow to the ice to the even like the dual field and stuff like that. And it's one of those ones that has like elements bleed into the actual field from outside of the field, which I think is pretty interesting, as you can see. Right. Next up, we have the World Legacy one. This one is probably the best one that was actually on release, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it's just a solid one. Being able to like click the sword and the other like World Legacy cards is pretty cool, and they like glow and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just solid. One thing I really like about this field in particular is that both sides are different. So if your opponent has it, it looks different than if you have it, which I think is something that other fields should do more of, because it looks great. It genuinely like really, really solid. So yeah, a fantastic field as well. Even though I'm putting it in B tier, it is still, again, they're all great, right? So yeah, this is just great. Next up, we have the Madolce one. Cool gimmick, very fun, and yeah, like all of the sweets look very cool and yummy, right? And just all in all, it's like, yeah, it's a solid field. I don't really have much to say about it. There's not much that I don't like, and there's not much to really talk about and say how good it is. It's just kind of like a solid gimmick that works pretty well. The Sword Soul, Mount Sword Soul is good. The biggest thing that I like about the Sword Soul one is when you do take damage and you see the underside, and it's that like shifting color of like blue and red and green and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool. But outside of that, it's pretty basic. There's not a whole lot going on. It is just kind of like on a mountaintop, which again is not necessarily bad. It's just comparatively, I think that there are some better options, right? So all in all, I'm not too big of a fan of the color scheme and all of that stuff, but you know, the flag in the background is pretty cool, and all in all, it's solid. Yeah, it's not bad. Mutant. Mutant is the other one in these three that I will use consistently, and it's the last one I'm gonna put into S tier. I'll tell you that right now. Mutant Lab is probably definitively across all metrics the coolest and like the most well designed. The lights turning on and like when you're on low life points, the lights turning on and basically changing the lab. The little guy basically coming out of his crystal when in the lab. I mean, the little mutant in the crystal is basically a second mate. It's fantastic. There's so much in there, like the spinning fans and how some of them will turn off when you take damage. Oh, it's just everything about it is so meticulously decorated and so perfectly designed. It's chef's kiss. It's so good. It's so fun. The Danger World is fine. It's okay. I do like that, you know, it looks like you're on a beach and then in the forest, but you never see that. It's so hard to actually see like all of that in there in the field, right? But obviously, like if you do end up seeing it, it's pretty cool. But all in all, it's fine. It's got a cool gimmick, but I don't know. It's okay. Ritual Cage is fine. It's one of the stronger. Well, it's fine. It's pretty bare bones. It's the darker of the on-release ones. It has the little bird that pops out, which is okay. I don't actually like the bird. Not gonna lie, I don't like the bird. But all in all, it's not really doing much. This is the like Dark Magician one, the like Spell World one. It's not the one that came in the bundle with Dark Magician. It is the like one that Dark Magician uses in the solo mode on like the very last like duel thing. Anyway, you get which one I'm talking about. This one's cool. This one's fine. I like the color scheme a little bit more. It's more of like a silver. It is pretty bright, but not as bright as some of the other brighter ones. And it just works well. Yeah, I like it. Night Skyscraper, I believe is what this one is called, right? I actually really like this one. I'm gonna put it in A tier. This one's really, really cool. It's got like a whole freaking city in the background. It's really cool. I don't like Hero, but Dear Atlanta, they got a fantastic field. It just across the board looks really, really good. From the little lights that go back and forth from clicking on it and like getting honks and stuff like that, and the city going by in the background. It's a fantastic field. Okay, now we have some new ones. Most notably Pyrazine, which is why it looks kind of different. The Pyrazine one from Huzuma, what's it? From the Gem Knights. That's what they are. Or like Adamantipator. Could be either. I think it's Gem Knights, but could be Adamantipator. We could say it's Adamantipator. All in all, it's fine. There's not really anything too noteworthy about it. At least not off the top of my brain. I haven't seen too much of this field, so I don't know too much about it. I think it's mostly just the color scheme that I don't love. It's not terrible, right? There's nothing like detracting from it, but there's nothing really pushing it above. We have the new Kashtira field, which I honestly really like. I think it just looks really, really cool. It's something you can't see here, but on the edges, there's a ton of the like Kashtira Wraithsoth, or like the Kashtira stuff that is taking over the planet, which I think is very interesting, right? Because Kashtira is the aggressive, like conquering force across the several planets in the Vsauce lore, and it looks really cool, and all of the like little stuff on the outside is very, very cool. The actual field itself is kind of lackluster, so I'm not going to put it higher, but it is very nice. And then we have the Blue Eyes one, which I actually do have to put pretty low, again due to brightness. Dear Lanta, when the Blue Eyes field first pops up, you're just like, ah! And you get blinded. It's awful. Other than that, I think it mellows out and is fine. But like it's not really doing all that much. It's not great. Okay. Now let's talk about the two event ones, which is the one for the Duelist Cup and the one for Worlds. The one for the Duelist Cup I'm actually going to put in A tier. I think it does specifically what it's designed to do, which is be a kind of like bland, mellow atmosphere really well. However, in a win or a loss, seeing the background crumble around you is super clean, and it looks very, very cool. Taking damage looks great, and while there aren't all that many elements, the lighting and all of that stuff really does help solidify and like keep you focused on the actual game and not focused on like all of the random jazz that's happening in the background, which I think is very useful. Now, I said there wasn't going to be another one in S tier, and there technically isn't another one in S tier, except for this one, right? The Worlds / WCS field was so good, is so good, from a spectator perspective. As a player, this would be frustrating. I think that this would look pretty bad, right? Mostly due to the fact that it's kind of like too good, and I kind of just want to look at the field and how insanely cool it is, and it's kind of distracting. But beside that, again, there is so much to love about this field. The soundtrack, which again I wasn't really going to mention all that much, but like the sound, the lights, the colors, the sharp contrast between the opponent's field and my field, the like cool blue and the deep red and all of that jazz. The lighting is very, very nice and very easy on the eyes, but it's not like dark though, like some of the other fields, like the Night field or the Archfiend field or something like that. And it just works beautifully and is just a very, very solid field. And that's basically it. So this is my tier list. It's pretty basic, but obviously I have a preference, right? Is the snow field technically an S tier field? Probably not, but I'm gonna put it up there because obviously. But yeah, all in all, those are my thoughts. And let me know down below in the comments if you agree with me, or if you think I rated something too highly, or maybe I rated something too low. What do you guys think? Let me know down below, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.